Santa.
No, he is not, girl. What makes Santa real? Why is he real?
But I saw the Santa present, so I know he's real.
You sing Santa presents.
So he's real.
He's real, but you didn't get to see him.
No, because you remember on the TV, stories come from on the TV, and then Santa sneaks right in the house. That's what Santa does.
Oh, so is that why you didn't get to see Santa?
No, because maybe all the presents are gonna disappear.
So he's real, but you didn't see him?
Yeah, because the presents might disappear.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't want them to disappear.
Oh, so that's why you didn't wake up. Because if you'd have woke up, they would have disappeared? Is that what you're saying? Oh. Or did your mom and dad and Gigi buy them presents?
Santa did.
Oh, we didn't do nothing?
No.
Oh.
Santa's just trying to be nice because he likes it.
All right. What's up, folks? Man, I always trip off of that dang video with her, man. That's like 10 years ago or something like that. No. How old was she? She may have been like 3 or something. That might have been like 9 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, and having this debate with her. And now it's funny as hell now that they older. And the whole Santa identity thing is dead, which I've always told them since the Santa thing became a thing of their damn world. Santa, that crap would never get pushed with me. Santa would never exist with me. And now I see it. But I was talking about the other day, I had gave them early for a part of their Christmas gift because I got them these cards. There's these cards called and the cards got their pictures on. There's this thing called green lights. I got it from one of my cousins. And so I give them these cards. Hold on, where's this card at? This company called Green Light. That's what it is, not Green Dot. The Green Dot is what you send to people who serving in prison and shit. These must called Green Light cards. And so I end up getting them these, and they have their own, so you can manage their account. So this is what I got them. So I give them money on that shit. And when I sent them this money, and what was it? Last night we was doing the show, I checked to see what they brought. I really checked to see how much they had left. That shit one of them got 16 cents, the other one got 59 cents. And then they got all these damn declines. I say, God damn. So what happened to Santa buying all these damn gifts? And now they realize it. But now that I'm realizing these kids don't know shit about saving no damn money. They just as bad as the rest of us. And I was told my dogs, like, damn, y'all didn't save that money for shit. But I'm like, I gave it to y'all. That's y'all's. But damn, y'all didn't think about saving it. Like, and I want to see how long the shit that y'all brought, how long does it last? How long does it have value? How long are you going to play with the shit? If it's a toy, how sentimental the value is? If it's some kind of doll or collectible. But yeah, it was just like another thing that is a common thing amongst people is if you got it, spend it. You got it, spend it. And that shit is crazy with how fast. I gave them about the same amount for their birthday, flamed through that shit. Gave them the same amount for this Christmas thing, flamed it. And I was telling them, do not buy people shit. That is not your job to have to buy people gifts. Like, that's the other side I hate about Christmas. Is you having to feel people feeling as if they're obligated to go out and buy everybody they know a bunch of fucking gifts. And then having to deal with guilt if you don't buy this person a gift. Like, that's not what this shit should be about. But so much of how easy it is to kind of shepherd people because we have so many sheep in society into kind of moving into this type of belief. As if you have to spend this and then buy that. What's up to Mark? Salute to Mark. He in there rolling. Mark Summers in this putting the clown emojis because he believe in Santa and shit. He still think the nigga come down the chimney and he live in a trailer. And then Marnaz says, happy holidays to you, says the twins and the whole family except Deuce. He says, no, just kidding, Deuce too. And then he says, Reading Rainbow says on that title though, where Santa Claus says, fell off my roof 12 years ago. says giving credit I meant to take the 4 out to a mythical person is crazy. Giving credit to a mythical person is crazy. Thanks for calling that one out. Let me see. Matter of fact, let me see if I do got the Reading Rainbow shit in here. Let me get the Reading Rainbow post put up on here. I think I got it. Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
And it's so funny.
Man, you reading like you slow, cuz.
I can go twice as high.
Nah, it just show up different.
Take a look.
Y'all never went live before. It look
A
different.
reading rainbow.
What's going down?
Anywhere. Friends to know.
It's a lot of comments on here.
A reading rainbow.
Cuz can't read. Who can't read? Derek Harris. Who is that?
Take a look. It's in a book. A reading
Screenshot SS that shit for me, please. What do SS mean? Can somebody help me with that? I don't know what SS mean. Get off here. Get off here. I know I'm here. I'm here.
All right, I'm here. And the title is fixed. But good call out. When we don't write right, we gotta call each other out, man. We pick it up on literacy and all that shit up in here. And but this fool Mark Summers, who is a certified immigrant brought over here from Europe, who really pushes the Santa Claus theme. Maybe that's what his dad has always portrayed that shit. And his dad only plays Santa to have little Mark Sumner sit on his lap and shit, so he can do little weirdo bozo shit. That Mark Summers to this day still goes out to visit Santa and sits on his lap. And then Mark Nash says they spent it all in one day. See, that I didn't see, but it didn't take long for them to spend that shit. They was trying to spend that shit like they had $1,000 and shit. I'm like, I see all these damn declines. Mine, I gave them $150 each for that shit. And that's just for them to have that shit. Then I'm buying clothes. Because I know they ain't going to buy themselves their own goddamn clothes. So I was like, maybe they'll save this shit, man. They flew through that shit. And I see one purchase is on YouTube. Oh, no. That shit is off a TikTok shop. And in mind, my daughter a while ago had me buy her a damn hoodie from off of the TikTok shop. And I ain't never seen her wear this shit but one time. I say, hell no. Nah. I'm like, hell no. Because a lot of people really don't need a lot of shit. You really don't need all the shit that people buy. OG Bruce Gas in the building. Salute to the OG Bruce Gas. But I want to go into this history of Christmas. Because I think Christmas has really been turned into some other type of shit. And especially as America makes this transition to becoming more of a corporate ran society, corporate owned society, and pushing people into what they think as if they need to have to be inside of the cool, the popularity contest that everybody is kind of in a rat race to be part of. And I was looking at a video earlier on this is on Instagram, where there's a mother up there sitting in her car recording a video, and she's emotional, crying and shit over her. I think her child, they said in the post, was 7 or 8 years old. No, the child was 8. The child, where the woman posted in the thing that she brought her child, there was 7 gifts she brought her child, and her child in line at a store or something. A lady asked, "How was your Merry Christmas and all that, and how your holidays?" And the kid made a statement that the kid was only getting 7 presents, and the mother felt the way about that shit, as if these presents meant everything. And these are presents she brought that she will place under a tree and talk some Santa Claus shit. Would talk some Santa shit and saying that there was only 7 presents under a tree. And then this woman breaking down over that shit. And then talking about this, what the kid don't know is that there's a PS5 under the tree. Like, lady, if you don't knock that shit the fuck off. And then where kids have to get a better understanding of this shit is not about any of that shit. Mark Nash says, have you seen the Dave Chappelle special yet? Yeah, I did a live stream on that Dave Chappelle thing. And he says DDF worth the review. Says, what is DDF? DDF worth of review. Says it's funny as hell. Says the Jews, LGBT. Says and what is that? And a Nate or Diddy or something says, and Diddy folks says are pissed off. Says trying to cancel him. Man, all this canceling people shit. The thing with his kids, and I know his kids want to fight everybody, is they have to live with the fact that his father's a public figure. The fact that the court was a publicly covered fucking trial, and for them to not feel so hurt by the shit is to shut the fuck up. And I think if the kids watch the shit, they'll see that Dave Chappelle did not talk about their fucking father. So either Diddy's kids are effing retarded, and Diddy needs, when he gets out, needs to beat the brakes off his fucking kids for being halfway stupid and receiving some of the highest paid public education or private education inside of America. That he needs to get out, start doing his push-ups every day so he's strong enough, and beat the shit out of his fucking sons for being stupid asses, because Dave Chappelle did not go in on Puff at all. So them kids need to learn to shut the fuck up. They ain't tough guys. A little scrawny ass. What's the scrawny one? King Combs or whatever his name is. That Justin? He'll get the brakes beef off of him. Justin Bieber beat that kid ass. Like, dude, you motherfuckers are silver spooners. You're not a tough guy. You gonna fuck around, keep saying that shit, and start getting tested and get the shit slapped out of them. Like, these dudes need to accept. Man, your dad done the broad. If anything, go after the broad who revealed this lifestyle about your father, dumb motherfuckers. And your father shouldn't have been living that kind of lifestyle as a father, a dude with kids. So they're gonna have to live with that. And I don't think it's just the more you let it get under your skin, is the more that you give power to that shit. So they just gotta accept that. The father will get through it. Puff been called a homo for a very long time. So I'm gonna go into this weirdoisms about Christmas and how the hell did Christmas end up over here, and how did especially black folks start celebrating shit. But like they say, black folks in this country, many people in this country have to adapt and adjust to the duality of consciousness amongst black people. We're black folks who are we're black naturally. But then we live in this subconscious world of how do we assimilate into, the acceptance into, kind of white, kind of force the force lifestyles of Europeans brought into this country, and that force kind of or do it because of the fact of them being part of what people use the term of dominant societies. I don't like using that shit. But it is what it is. So I'm gonna go into that. I want to go into the history of the shit, and then how did people get into all this buying of shit? And then Mark Nash says I'm in anti-Diddy groups. Says because he definitely was supporting Diddy. Says and people were mad he didn't bash him. Yeah, then that's the thing with these old soft ass groups. These soft ass groups. So the anti-Diddy folks are pissed. Says trying to. Well, I thought you meant the family was trying to. Yeah, and he says my bad to distract back to Christmas. But yeah, no, the these whole ass people. That's why he brought up the shit about doing the program over in Saudi Arabia, because we got too many whole ass people, and I think the thing is to address whole ass people. I always believe in that shit, and then the problem in this country is too many people have been too many people have been able to control the narrative, control what people are to accept. Make force people to what should be rejected, try to cancel you out. Like, fuck these people. And then it goes back to how people get forced into this acceptance of Christmas and shit. And even to break black folks away from Christmas is where you get the thing from what's the dude Karamba, who creates Kwanzaa and shit. It's to break away from this stupid ass shit. And then Marcel, because nobody pushed Christmas on Jewish folks. We over here celebrating Hanukkah and shit, are announcing the celebration of that shit. And Hanukkah ain't about these folks rushing out to the goddamn store to buy everything. They sit back, half of them probably on the stores, motherfuckers rushing to buy this shit. Mark Thomas says Christmas is one of the best American traditions. No, it's not. Maybe it was. Says, not surprised, says you're anti-Christmas. Not anti-Christmas. I'm anti the dumb shit, retarded shit that you accept. That's why you sit on your daddy's lap for fucking Christmas time and he fucking registered offender and shit. He says, name some better American traditions. It's fucking dumbass. Caught up in traditions. I'm black, so I don't know what the fuck you want to consider American traditions. I guess that's a code word for assimilate. Um, so let's go into this. So what is Christmas? It says Christmas was traditionally a Christian festival celebrating the birth of Jesus. It says, but in the 20th century, there goes the but. So, but in the 20th century, it also became a secular holiday, says observed by Christians and non-Christians alike. Says the secular holiday is often devoid of Christian elements. Says with a mythical figure, Santa Claus. The boy just knew this shit, homeboy. I just knew it. I ain't even Christian or none of that shit. Been raised in a Christian church, but there's so many Christians that celebrate this shit. But true Christians and true to his belief, bam, you done brought up some mythical figure playing a pivotal role. This motherfucker been so pivotal, he done replaced the mother and the damn father. And the dumbass parents would sit there and play on this Santa shit. Really, it'd be the mothers and shit. Really be the mothers. I'm gonna go back. I want to go into to who is Santa Claus and all this shit. But see, I'll be always on point with this shit. Be on point. I'll be just knowing something is just way off with all this weirdo shit. That's why I'm anti with the weirdo shit. I'm anti the weirdo shit. Says, when is Christmas celebrated? I don't need to know that. Says, what does the word Christmas mean? What does that shit mean? The word Christmas means Christ, says Christ Mass. Says, or the Mass on Christ Day. Says, the term originated in the Middle English, Christian, what is that? Christ the Mass. Says, which came from the Old English, Christ Massy. I don't know how you say these old ass words. Says a mass is a celebration of the Eucharist, however you say that. I don't know what the hell it is. Says Christmas, our Christian festival celebrating the birth of Jesus, which nobody celebrates none of this shit. People don't even tell these kids of, oh, these presents were brought here to you for Jesus. They were brought to you by God. We got black ass people in here celebrating with a figure, big white beard ass dude with a big ass belly, with all year they tell you about how fat you is and you can barely get in the car, but this big fat motherfucker can squeeze through a thin ass chimney, which you ain't got in your house, and then end up in your house and then giving you gifts. And then telling you need to be nice all year in order to get gifts. And then the kids believe in mythical shit to act good to get presents from a fake motherfucker. It's crazy to me. Like I say, we live in a society of dummies, man. Certified dummies, and the dummies just appeared overnight. And then so let's continue on. So since the 20th century, Christmas has been a secular holiday. Okay, I read through all that. Let me see. So in this secular Christmas celebration, a mythical figure named Santa Claus plays a pivotal role. And then says in this Christmas time, says running from Advent or early through the Epiphany, says is a season rich with countless religious and secular traditions that bring family together, faith and culture, while emphasizing themes of hope, joy, generosity, and goodwill. The Nativity says a biblical account of significance. See, I want to go into all that stuff. I ain't going into all the churchy stuff. Let me skip some of that. Let me see if some other good stuff in here. The origins of Christmas. Let me go. Says development of Christmas as a holiday. Let's check that out. Since early Christian communities distinguished between the identification of the date of Jesus' birth and the and the liturgical celebration of the event. See, I remember that when I was young, before all this Christmas became such a commercialized holiday. I remember we'll go to church. Even some of the Christmas displays will be of religious faith. It wouldn't be all Santa everywhere and this and that. And I remember just early parts of that before you start having the influence of television and media programming that really, really stumped down pushing out the damn Santa Claus shit. Because I remember I used to always wonder what the hell a manger was. And then the what is the people, because like I said, I ain't real religious and stuff, because I got tired of looking in at the damn displays with Jesus' birth and the wise men's and all that stuff, and seeing that none of them were black. and all I seen around me was black. So I always had as a young kid an issue with that. I always had some kind of issue with seeing that, but I always, you hear the stories, and that's what it was. You see the story, the history of Jesus, the star, the wise people walking, and him born in some manger, whatever it is, or farm, and the donkeys and shit there. And so I used to be confused by that. Like, what is God doing being a human? And if this is a mighty powerful dude, why is he around all these humans? It ain't like some God looking ass person and shit. It, bunch of old people in Kanye West clothes and shit. So I'm like, I just didn't understand that shit. But I enjoy that more. But it wasn't more this push of the Santa shit all the damn time. All right, so back into this one, because a lot of people have gotten lost from what Christmas is really about, and it ain't no going back to it either. Because this shit is too fun, it's too popular, and people love it this way. Because people are materialized and shit, materialized and influenced because they have acid on their brain. All right, so and let me go back. Says the actual says observance of the day of Jesus' birth was long and was long in coming. Says in particular, says during the first 2 centuries of Christianity, says there was strong opposition to recognizing birthdays as what is that? As martyrs, says are for that matter of Jesus. Numerous church fathers author what is that sarcastic comments about the pagan customs of celebrating birthdays when in fact saints and martyrs should be honored on the day of their martyrdom, their true birthday says from the church's perspective. Let me see, I might be on point with that shit too, because I ain't into doing all that birthday celebration shit every year, but I think the birthday is a good thing. Says the precise origins of assigning December 25th as the birth date of Jesus Christ is unclear. The New Testament provides no clues in this regard. It says December 25th was first identified as the date of Jesus' birth. Says by Sextans Julius Africanus. Julius Africanus, who is this fool? Let me see. Who is he? Black? Let me see. This is probably who they named Africa after. Let me check who he is. You see, he's born in Jerusalem. He died. Says was the first Christian historian known to produce a universal chronology. Let me see. His life is not well documented. So the evidence indicated that Africanus traveled considerably in Asia, Egypt, and Italy. Says and later lived chiefly at Emmaus in Palestine. Let me see. They got a picture of this fool. Oh, he black as hell. Is that him? Let me see. Yeah, this fool might be Africanus, might be a black dude. Oh, he white over here. Hold on, I seen the black pictures over there. Let me check them ones out. Let me see. The white folks got a hold of it. They said, "Oh hell no, get that darky shit up out of here." But let me check this one out. What was this photo over here? Let me see. This one is these fools ain't black. They kind of darkened. Says the Bezantine frescoes, blah blah blah. They're a little dark. They got little afros with curls on top of their head, but these are white guys. The paint is dark. All right, so yeah, let me get up out of that. So don't see nothing about Africanus. So Africanus is probably definitely not a black dude. Definitely not a black dude. Let me see. They call him one of the first historians of Christianity. So let me back up. Was really trying to see who this guy was. And Julius, his name is Sextus Julianus. Boom, boom, boom. Just looking through some of this stuff. Was trying to pull up. So he definitely not a black dude. So maybe Africa was named after this fool. Maybe he ventured into Africa or something. All right, so let's go back. Give me 1 second. Are we going back? What's up with this? All right, here we go. So where were we at? So Julius Africanus. All right, let me go back into the development. Where we're at, development of Christmas. Okay, so December 25th says is first identified as the birth of says as the date of Jesus' birth by Sextus Julius Africanus, says in 2021, which is probably AD or something, and later became the universal accepted date. Says one widespread explanation of the origins of this date says that December 25th was the Christianizing of the Die Solis Invicta Nazi, wherever that says, the day of the birth of the unconquered sun, says a holiday in the Roman Empire that celebrated the winter solstice as a symbol of the resurgence of the sun. Says the casting away of winter, says in the heralding of the rebirth of spring and summer. Says indeed, after December 25th had become widely accepted as the date of Jesus' birth, Christian writers frequently made the connection between the rebirth of the sun and the birth of the sun. So the sun in the sky, and the sun is some human offspring. And it says one of the difficulties with this view is that it suggests a nonchalant willingness on the part of the Christian church to appropriate a pagan festival when the early church was so intent on distinguishing itself categorically from pagan beliefs and practices. So a lot of this shit is just breakdowns of shit. So a lot of this shit is breakdowns of shit. So I want to go back into the Santa Claus shit and where people come with the Santa Claus shit, because you don't even see you only like I don't see people displaying religious displays when they do Christmas setups. I don't see that shit at all anymore. I ain't seen that shit since the 80s. That shit is gone. And therefore, you give the big fat white dude who looks like Mark Sumner's dad, who he sits on his lap every year, and for a registered offender, and he asks his daddy for gifts that he never gets. Let me stop clouding this old chump ass fool, Mark Summers. So that's what it is. He give Mark Summers a Coke and a smile. Fucking get off his lap with a Woody and shit. Fucking weird motherfucker. All right, so back to this history lesson on this shit and why I think the shit was sounded dumb. And the reason why I be like, I used to always try to tell my kids, man, this motherfucker is fake, and they will fight tooth and nails to keep Santa alive. Keep Santa hope alive. And then you get the kids on that elf on the shelf shit. They believe that shit. They act good for the elf on the shelf. And then Mark Summers, who the dumb European American fool always on the channel, he says Christmas is one of the best. Oh, yeah, I read that one. And he says, he's talking about name a better tradition. He laughing out loud. It says Kwanzaa. Says you celebrate that. I don't really celebrate no holidays. When I go to my relative's house, she celebrates it. I don't really celebrate holidays. I'm not into that holiday celebration. To me, it's for kids. I don't break away from, but I just be like, don't push that shit on me. I'm not into it. I live day by day. It's the days that count. If my kids like it, I'm going to rock with it. But I ain't about to say, oh, Santa got you these gifts. I brought these motherfuckers. I done woke up every day, then drove to this job, dealt with motherfuckers you can't stand, dodge in and out of traffic, hoping the motherfucker don't hit you, and create some situation where the car in the shop and you making insurance claims. Now I'm supposed to give all this shit to a Santa? Like, this is the everyday thing that takes an account till you buying shit, and you supposed to give it to some damn fool. Like, motherfuckers is stupid as shit. And then Mark Summers said, but like I say, in the early development of Christmas, you don't hear any of this shit about, going out buying this and buying that. That shit was something pushed on by America's connection to corporations and realizing that American people are just that dumb. You're going to make them go out there and rush themselves to death to buy shit. Even some people risk their freedom because they don't have money. They feel like they have to go in and steal shit for gifts. And then we were talking about when they used to have the layoff, what was that? Layaway systems back in the day. And usually people lay off do layaway a lot when Christmas time. It's try to get a month or two, a few months ahead for when Christmas is coming up. Put items on layaway, make these little, partial payments to be able to get these gifts. And Mark Summers says, so you got no so you got no answer. And he says, I didn't say anything about black or white. Mark Summers, everything with you is black or white. What you think you need to say the N word to me to be a racist? Like, you sound dumb, homie. You're not talking to a dumb black dude. I pride myself on being smart. Like, and being a dude who can be on some anything, on just being dynamic, but overall being smart. And then being smarter than you to educate you about the retardation that you've been presented in life. Mark Summers says Christmas is a cheat code, says to getting kids to behave too. It's part of that shit too. It's part of that shit, but a lot of parents ain't using the discipline. They using it, I don't know, as they try to earn their children's love through gifts, and that's crazy. Mark Summers says, always celebrate your birthday, says, because you don't know when it might be your last. Man, I celebrate day to day, homie. And then Mark Summers says Coca-Cola says created the image of Santa Claus, says we use. Yeah. No, Coca-Cola didn't. Or no, you could be right, because Coca-Cola's I don't know. We're gonna read up on that shit though. We're gonna definitely read up on who created this image. I don't think no Coca-Cola did that shit. I think Santa's a European image. And then Mark Summers says that stuff in the old days says it was about Christianity. Says it became a holiday of family and tradition. It's always been a holiday of family and tradition in the celebration of what they say, like with the Christ thing. And he says gift giving, says, and giving to the less fortunate, says, are the main themes of the holiday, which the corporations have solely controlled how people go about. And it shows how the corporation being the shepherd and the consumer being sheep. And then CJ says, I wish Santa was real. Says, I ran through 1,500 already today. Says, and I'm not even done. God damn, how much shit you gonna buy? God damn, CJ. You buying cars and shit? They go on the Oprah shopping spree this week. Hey, man, you ought to whoop anybody ass who ain't happy with what the fuck you got them. Shit, 1,500 in a day and still going? You crazy. And then Mark Summers says the CJ says that's nothing. Says it's nothing to a baller like you. Says the kids will be happy. Says, and that's worth the weight in gold. And then Mark Summers says that's what it's all about. Says go to the relative's house. And then CJ says these kids are spoiled nowadays. Absolutely. But they not just spoiled, they spoiled because of the adults. And then Mark Summers says, Ian, they're laughing, says, yeah, they are. To CJ. And then Mark Summers says, Christmas was the time of the year. Says, I got some big stuff I wanted, like PlayStation. Yeah, those were the days. But see, that's where you've never been able to turn the hands of time back on that shit. It's when kids are getting the Ataris and Nintendo. That shit just added the value. And guess who knew how to capitalize on that? Your corporations. The companies have capitalized on that. And that, of course, that was a day. Kids waking up, all type of gifts and all that shit. And imagine if that kind of excitement went into the birthday as a young kid. Oh my God. Watch a corporation or somebody creates this little trend of where the birthday becomes that shit. And some adults are making it like that, because you get some women that are caught up in doing the whole week of their birthday celebration and shit. And everybody's birthday celebration goes into how much they're going to spend, and you giving this money to someone else versus that money coming into you. And he says, Mark Summers says, I never came on here, says calling anyone N-words or being racist. You do that. Nah, Mark Summers, you do that shit and you do it silently and attempt to be covert about it. And I see through that shit. Whether you consciously or subconsciously doing that shit, and it may be subconscious because it's the way your parents raised you, or the church. Should I say the church raised you? Because that's where a lot of white prejudice come from, out of them churches y'all go to. And then CJ says every quarter of the year, says there's a holiday or two to spend money. Red says definitely by corporate design. Absolutely. Once you see through it, you filter out through it. My thing is that I'm glad my kids of other age, I can give them money, but I'll be looking like I'm better off buying them a gift. But then again, I'll be like, I don't want to buy shit and it's a waste of money. But I let them buy the retarded shit they buy. I mean, them motherfuckers still pushing the damn button, acting like they got money. I looked at that shit. They got about 16 cents and 50. One got 56 cents. I say this about a bitch. And then CJ says, and don't be a person who gift people for their birthdays. Says you stay in the hole. Absolutely. And there's people like that's how one of the chicks I used to fuck with used to always be like that. And I used to couldn't stand. I was glad when I broke up with her ass. Cause I couldn't stand like bitch had 1,000 friends. Like, fuck, how many times you gonna buy somebody some shit? And it feel obligated to do that shit. Gotta go this birthday, buy that shit. Gotta show up with something, man. Fuck all that. See, that's why people, when I be telling my stories come with a reason why I ain't in this shit. Cause I've been burnt out on all that shit. I've been burnt out on that shit. And it been a couple of bras I be with. Them bitches be wanting to be in they little female social groups. They probably halfway don't like each other. And they just always gotta be at the shit. Like, fuck all that. Like, hell no, I gotta pop up with this shit, go buy that shit, buy an outfit to wear to this shit, go out to eat here. And then here they go want to go out and eat, present all these presents, be loud in this damn establishment. And then now it's time to pay for all this shit. And everybody nickeling and diming, but coming in these motherfuckers looking like they rich and shit. Like, people knock this shit the fuck off. And then Mark Summers says, I'm always schooling you, man. Mark Summers, I'm waiting for the day you school me, man. Ain't nothing like I'm not adverse to people presenting, knowledge, but the knowledge gotta be right, because we gotta fact check the knowledge. But you ain't never done that. And then CJ says I heard about Santa image says coming from Coca-Cola too before. And I'm about to look into that shit. And then CJ says I gotta give my niece something, says then I'm done. Then you gonna spend $1,500 on her too? Man, they better love you for life, bro. That's a lot of fucking Christmas money for the babies. But then again, that's what Christmas is about. It is for the babies. It is definitely for the babies. Because I sure in the hell ain't buying nothing for the adults. Because I don't want nobody to buy me. And that's why I told my kids, and I hope they listen. Don't buy me a fucking thing. Don't buy me shit. And then so what does Santa Claus look like? No, don't give a fuck what he look like. We all know what Santa look like. Where's the history to this shit? Says where does he live? Of course, Mark Summers believes he's up in the North Pole, so that's about the place to put him. The North Pole, go where the snow is. Says okay, here we go. Where did Santa come from? See, yeah, it's a long time ago, so it ain't from. Oh, but the image y'all said. Says the Dutch are credited with transporting the legend of Saint Nicholas, or what is that? Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas sound like the way that Hitler say that shit. Sinterklaas says to New Amsterdam, says now New York City. Says along with the customs of giving gifts and sweets to children, says on his fest day on December 6th. And then you don't let this fool give your kids no sweets. Says, when did Santa Claus arrive? Let's see. Oh, wait, no, this is the chimney shit. All right, no, let's skip all that. So Santa Claus, legendary figure who is the traditional patron of Christmas in the United States and other countries. That's why I be wondering, do other countries celebrate this shit? But I know as more foreigners have arrived in America and then they get deported back, or some of them volunteer to go back, they probably brought that shit over to their country too. It says so the traditional patron of Christmas in the United States and other countries says bringing gifts to children. His popular image is based on traditions associated with Saint Nicholas, who is Saint Nicholas, says a 4th century Christian saint. So let's see what Saint Nick. I go back to that. Let me not keep breaking up. It interferes with it. So Saint Nicholas says a 4th century Christian saint, says who is typically depicted in red bishop robe, says the Dutch are credited with transporting the legend of Saint Nicholas, Sinterklaas, to New Amsterdam, which is New York City. Says along with the customs of giving gifts and sweets to children on Fest Day, which is December 6th. Father Christmas fills the role in many European countries. The current depiction of Santa Claus is based on an image drawn by cartoonist Thomas Nast, says for the Harper's Weekly, beginning in 1863. So it ain't Coca. Oh, but there go Coca-Cola too. So so the current depiction is off of something from the Harper's Weekly. So back in 1863, and that's crazy because that's the Civil War year. So this is the year in which blacks become free and shit. Let me see, that blacks probably really start celebrating that shit then. I wish there was something to understand, to get the history on when blacks start celebrating this shit. Hold on, let me see where this pop up or drop down. So let's continue. So Thomas Nass says of the Weekly Harper says Nass Santa owed much of his depiction given in a poem, says A Visit from St. Nicholas, also known as Twas the Night Before Christmas, first published in 1823. The image was further defined by the popular Santa Claus advertisement created for the Coca-Cola Company from 1931 by illustrator Haddon Sundblom. Sundblom Santa was a portly white-bearded gentleman, says dressed in a red suit with a black belt, white fur trim, black boots, and a soft red cap. So this is the Thomas Nast depiction of Santa Claus here. So he looked really Dutch, and this must be the image from Coca-Cola. So they put more weight on him and redefined his beard. All right. So let's see, go down here. So Santa Claus is said to live in the North Pole with his wife, Mrs. Claus, his hoochie. Says where he spent the year making toys with the help of the elves. See, I remember all that shit being part of that shit too. And that's when did this start happening? Because it really pushed away the 70s and 80s, or maybe the 60s. Maybe post World War II is where I don't think there was even a hyper emphasis of how commercialized that shit in the 50s and shit. When did the hyper commercialization of Christmas start? Maybe in the goddamn 70s or something. Says there, so he with his L says there he receives letters from children, says asks for Christmas gift. I remember being in elementary, they making us write them bullshit letters and believing the fuck out of that shit. Believing the hell out of writing them letters and Santa give you this and that shit. And he big ass go down chimney, all that shit. Let me skip all that. Let me see what else is in the contents of this. Let me see. What is that? I might have to go to Wikipedia. Somebody might have wrote a more detailed article on this. Let's see. Christmas, boom, boom, boom. No. Let me go back to the Santa Claus. Let me go over here to Wiki for Christmas and Santa Claus. Let me go back up. And I want to get more in detail on this Santa shit. Let me see how depth. We skip past all the Christian stuff. I'll go into commercialization of Christmas. There we go. The economy. All right, there we go. Good job here from Wiki. Because even Halloween has changed drastic than the mug. Even Halloween has gone through drastic change. That is really shifted. And Halloween is kind of a wicked thing. But I even think the changes to Halloween is much better than what it was. Be it where it ain't so much demonic shit with Halloween. But Halloween has become more of an adult type of thing. Halloween was really for the kids. And now those kids have grown up to really kind of move the needle in the traditional Halloween. It almost becomes like an open whole day. It's almost an open whole day. It's like a day. I think Halloween really turned into a day where a lot of people fucking. And I think it's probably going to be the birth rates increase. So what's 9 months from October? So it'll go, let's see, November. Wait, so it's the end of it. So you'll go December, being you bust at night. You get the girl on Halloween. You get the fucking, you bust. That'd be the beginning of November. So you go December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So it's probably a lot of August, September babies. So a lot of people born in August and September because they get the night of Halloween. You know, just be in a club, they wear these little skirts. You can just stick your shit right in it on the dance floor. So it definitely, and you know, a lot of people will look at it like I'm being funny with it, but I'm guaranteeing you that's how it's gonna go down. Those gonna be in America. Those gonna be especially in the large cities, not you farmers and shit. You farmers still live boring, archaic ass lives, and you're missing out on a lot of shit. That's why y'all be behind on everything. So let me see. Oh, here we go. It says, all right, I got some on Christmas. We're going to go to 21st century. I was looking for Santa Claus. Let me see. This illustrator. I think it's always good to get history about why you celebrate shit. And let's go into the 19th century. Well, where's that depiction of Santa? Let me see. Because it's crazy. All that shit is brought. All this shit is just English people ass shit or European shit. Is what a lot of these holidays are. Let me see. Is this worth reading? Since in the early 19th century, says Christmas festivities and services gradually spread with the rise of the Orthodox movement in the Church of England, says they emphasized the centrality of Christmas and Christianity and charity to the poor. Says along with the Washington Irving, Charles Dickens, and other authors emphasizing family, children, kind-heartedness, gift giving, and Santa Claus. That's what I want. Let me see. I want to go in the wiki about the history of Santa Claus. Says for Irving, says our Father Christmas, and this is for the Dickens book. Says an indication this increased recognition of Christmas was slow. However, it is seen in it's seen in the fact that in the 20th of the year between 1790 and 1835, says the Times did not mention Christmas at all. So you don't have no mention of Christmas. So it wasn't widespread. It just shows about how commercialized this holiday is. So it's probably mainly a Christian celebrated thing. So in the early 19th centuries, writers says imagine Tudor. Let me see. The Tudor says England, the Tudor period. So from 1485 to 1603. Including the Elizabethan era. Says the Tudor period says coincides with the reign of the House of Tudors, says which began with the ascension of Henry VII, says and ended with the death of Elizabeth I. All right, so that's the Tudor period of Christmas as a time of heartfelt celebration. In 1835, Thomas Harvey and Robert Seymour published the Christmas book in which they introduced what has been called a national Christmas narrative. In his book, Harvey asserted, says the revels of Merry England, says the revels of Merry England are fast subsiding into silence, and her many customs wearing gradually away. Says in 1843, Charles Dickens wrote the novel A Christmas Carol, which is, I think that shit later became a famed movie. Ain't a famous movie called A Christmas Carol? And wait, hold on. Let me see. Christmas Carol says being the ghost story of Christmas, blah, blah. I know they turned that shit into a movie. Oh, that's where Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge and all that shit comes from. And I'll go back in the chat in a minute. Let me catch up on some of this. Says, which I didn't even, yesterday, because going in the chat, I didn't even finish reading up on the marriage law shit yesterday. Says, which help revive the spirit of Christmas and seasonal merriment. Says its instant popularity played a major role in portraying Christmas as a holiday, emphasizing family, goodwill, and compassion. Now that shit about get the fuck out of my way, I need to get that last whatever new toy. They boom, 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 pushing each other and shit. And now Christmas have shifted to Black Friday and shit. Don't take the tags off that gift. I'm gonna take them back, get my money back, and then get it for cheaper. Motherfuckers, Black Friday shop, boy. This shit is so gimmicky. This shit is crazy with how foolish shit is. Says Dickens sought to construct Christmas as a family-centered festival of generosity, says Lincoln worship and feasting within the context of social reconciliation. Superimposing his humanitarian vision of the holiday. So Arthur has great influence in this shit. Says holiday, says, and what has been termed Carol philosophy. Dickens influenced many aspects of Christmas that are celebrated today in Western culture, such as family gatherings, seasonal food, drink, dancing, meaning they was off rhythm than a motherfucker, dancing to some bullshit. See, the black folks added style to it when James Brown and all them came back. All right, so games, the games were not video games, folks. Says, in a festive generosity of spirit. Says it has been said that Dickens that Dickens' breakthrough with A Christmas Carol was his ingenious pairing of seasonal fiction and seasonal sales, being the book sales. It says a prominent phase from, and that had to be a book. That shit like dropping a hot ass album. You dropped a hot ass book and it took off. This is like going platinum. He like the Kendrick Lamar at that time dropping his book. Because that was a thing. You dropped a book. Everybody sat back and waited for when the next book dropped. Because this is when people was read. And then once the record player and the radio started, people became stupid and illiterate. They didn't learn how to read. All right, so a prominent phase from the tale Merry Christmas was popularized following the appearance of the story. This coincided with the appearance of the Oxford movement. Let's see what the Oxford movement. It must be some university type study shit. The Oxford movement says was a theological movement of high church members of the Church of England, which began in the 1830s and eventually developed into the Anglo Catholicism. It says the movements whose original devotees were mostly associated with the University of Oxford. I knew something with some university shit. So Oxford movement says in the growth of the Anglo Catholicism says which led to the revival and the traditional rituals and religious observances. So the Anglo Catholicism, this must deal with being super white. Says comprised of beliefs and practices that emphasizes the Catholic heritage, especially pre-Reformation roots. Oh, I gotta look into that. That's some deeply racist shit. Just go back into what I be saying about these religions. Says pre-Reformation roots. Says in the Church of England. Says in other churches within and what is that? Angel. I can't even say that word. Y'all see it on there. And Angelicalism. How you say that? An angel. What Anglo Catholicism claims to restore. What is that? Liturgical and devotional expressions of church life that reflect the ancient. Let's go into that. Definitely want to see what the hell this shit is. Let me check this one out. This is how deeply racist shit this is. Boom, boom, boom. The history. I want to get more of what it's about. Let me see. Oxford movement. Boom, boom. All right, I ain't gonna go through all this. Yeah, I know that shit deeply, deeply on some old racist pro-white shit. So let me see. Let me back out of that. All right, so the term Scrooge says, all right, here we go. Says the term Scrooge became a synonym for miser. Says with the phrase bah humbug, says becoming says emblematic of the of the dismissive attitudes of the festive spirit. So that's what they'll call me speaking on this a bah humbug, and I'm not. I just ain't into all that. I'm about to do all this shit and be gimmicky about it. This shit for the kids. It says in 1843, says the first commercial Christmas card was produced by Sir Henry Cole. It says the revival of the Christmas Carol began with William Sandy's Christmas Carol, ancient and modern. Says ancient and modern, with the first appearance in print. The first novel says the first Noel. Says I saw three ships. Says hark the herald angel sings, and God rest ye merry. This fool Biden. Charles Dickens style. Charles Dickens should have put a copyright strike on that fool. Says in Britain, says the Christmas tree was introduced in the earlier 19th century by German-born Queen Charlotte. So who gonna be the next motherfucker that adds more onto this shit? We already had the corporations have been the worst thing to happen to all these damn holidays. It's the worst shit. So you got fools adding to where they took away from it being about just Christ and his birthday to making it more about family, being festive, time to gather, time to feast with one another. That's dope. That's the dope part of Christmas. But with these companies who you buy their shit all year, they add more to what you want to buy. Now they get your kids in on that shit. That's been how effective McDonald's have been against the parent as well. As McDonald's seem to target the kids, random ads throughout TV, and force parents to not want to feel bad because you love your babies and your babies giving you that sad dog face. You like, fuck it, you Ronald McDonald motherfucker, and now you pulling the drive-through. So that's what they've been able to do with this one. It always works. You strike the kids, have the kids strike the parents, and that was effective even within the Nazism shit. Is it target the kids with this shit? Your parent ain't rocking with this. Tell on the parent. We'll round your parent up. We'll be a new parent and out with the old, in with the new. We need to indoctrinate you. Hitler is king type shit. All right, in 1932, says the future Queen Victoria wrote about her delight of having a Christmas tree. Says hung with lights, ornaments. Damn, she had lights. She was really balling. Her Christmas tree had real lights on it. Rich ass chick. She wrote about this. Says she had lights, she had ornaments. Says and presents placed around it. So this is where this should come in from. a rich bitch named Queen Victoria. This rich bitch started the present shit. Say, yeah, you bums up there making shit out of chopped trees and presenting your kids with bullshit ass little wooden toys. Yeah, I'm getting real shit and it's rap. So now everybody got to rush out and buy rapping. So after her marriage, says to her German, oh, this bitch is nasty, homie. Yeah, where's the Queen Victoria? She from Britain too. Ooh, look at her. Look at her, man. Look, she rocking jewels, but she nasty. She fucking her own cousin. Says after her marriage to her German cousin, Prince Albert. But that's what they say about these about that family over there who y'all follow. Like I said, y'all be following a lot of degenerate ass people. A lot of degenerate ass people from these wealthy classes. Says by 1841, says the custom became more widespread throughout Britain. Says an image of the British royal family, says with their Christmas tree at the Windsor Castle created a sensation when it was published in the Illustrated London News in 1840. So now everybody else got to copy these motherfuckers, follow them. The old woman telling you that ain't good enough. We need to be like the Queen. You need to go get a tree. And now this motherfucker working that old smoke-filled factory, barely getting any money, gotta go rush out now and buy the family a fucking Christmas tree. Look at the stress on the man, god damn it. Now this fool gotta go out and get a Christmas tree, because that shit ain't enough. Because the Queen to roll her shit out in the damn newspaper. Oh, man. So there comes the second job. All right, so you working a second job just to get a Christmas tree and put the gifts under it. So a modified version of this image was published in Gaudy's Lady Book of Philadelphia, 1850. By the 1870s, says putting up a Christmas tree had become common in America. So 1870, and it was no more all this forest and shit. Says all this forest stuff and shit. You couldn't even chop down a tree out the forest anymore. You had to go buy that shit. Ain't that some shit? These fools, it be trees all over the forest. Now, because of this hoe, you gotta go fucking buy a goddamn tree. And then, so in America, it says interest in Christmas had been revived since in the 1820s by several short stories by Washington Irving, says which appeared in the sketchbook of Godfrey Crayon's Gent and Old Christmas. Says Irving's story depicted harmonious, warm-hearted English Christmas festivities he experienced while staying in Austin Hall, Birmingham, England, that had largely been abandoned. Says that he used that tract Vindication of Christmas, which is from 1652, of Old English Christmas traditions that he had transcribed into his journal as a format for his story. See, this is what's going to happen as they go on with this new re-envisioning of Christmas and shit. And all this revision of Christmas is going to further separate from it being about family and gather. It's going to be about you need to be inside this goddamn store. We got some new shit for you to buy. Look, man, this shit, I love learning history, homie. I'm a history-loving ass dude, and I'm going to make comedy out of that shit. I laugh about the shit. But it's interesting. I'm learning some shit. And then let me go back in the chat real quick because I keep seeing y'all writing. Let me not fall too far back. Let me see where we at. Where did I leave off the last comment? Boom, boom. Say, damn, where did I leave it? Got Bruce Gas in there. Oh yeah, that's why I left at. CJ was getting the gifts, and he says, "Damn," says "Damn, that's real shit." Says women always need an outfit. Says to go anywhere. Absolutely, women, like I say, everything with every movement is a hit at the heart and soul of women. When we talk music, got to hit the heart and soul of women. When you look at home buying, home appliances, all this shit, cars needing to look a certain way, the women is written all over that shit. James Brown may have wrote that song, but I think the Beyonce one is kind of realer. Who runs the world? Girls, god damn it. Says Bruce Gas says I make gummies for all my buds. Says handcrafted euphoria. And if y'all know Bruce Gas, y'all watch Bruce Gas channel. Bruce Gas being there on that Snoop Dogg, Woody. What's the white dude that be smoking and shit? What's his name? Woody, the country music dude. He be smoking. Snoop did a song album with him. I think is his name Woody Harrelson or some shit or whatever his name. In the Agent Math in the building. Salute Agent Math. He had the little broad with him yesterday from the gas station and shit. He says Xmas Eve says started off with a banger. Says ho 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 under the mistletoe. And then CJ says Halloween is definitely a party holiday. Yeah, that shit is crazy. And I watch how Halloween transition into its change into being a party holiday. And it being like in the 90s, especially amongst the drug era, the 90s, which is amped up, hyped up, and then watching that shit really turn into like hoochie shit. That shit really hoochie mama shit. CJ said, Red said Halloween says the new Valentine's Day. It is. Yeah, I'd rather celebrate that shit than how Valentine's is. You can fuck right on the dance floor, right at the after party. Cause them girls be dressed in the freakiest of shit. Like you even go if they had some shit, I don't know how you log it, typing it on. You went from Halloween from the parents didn't dress like that. Wasn't no after Halloween over, they tell you trick or treat. Bitches don't even barely take their kids out trick or treating. They take their kids around the corner, drop them off for somebody to watch it. Now this bitch done spun in the phone booth like Superman, and she super hoe. She done done her little one quick 360 spin and got on super hoe uniform. And motherfucking an evildoer is about to do her ass out there at that party and shit. It's a whole lot of fucking on Halloween. And then Mark Summers says, A Christmas Carol says, such a good story. So that shit is a over 100-year-old story and shit. They making bank off of that. And then Godbody Sean in the building says, so we practicing someone else's cultural myth. All day, homie. All day. That's why old boy developed that developed Kwanzaa and shit. All day. That's all that shit is. Like we get commercialized with shit in this country. And then Mark Summers, and because we don't learn a lot of history, we don't have understanding of this shit, why people just accept any old thing. And then Mark Summers says, but I ain't about to knock Christmas. I'm gonna buy gifts and hopefully my kids it's just gonna get them what they fucking want. And then Mark Summers says, there's a bunch of movies and variations. He's talking about the Christmas Carol. It says the family, goodwill, and compassion isn't part of your culture. It says then the holidays not for you, says the Godbody Sean. And he says, the Mark Summers says, shit your bitch ass. He said, Mark Summers, shut your bitch ass up. Says if you wanted to say say something to me, say what's up, bitch. Motherfucking losing respect for Mark Summers. Oh, Chuck. Oh shit. Agent Mass says top 10 foreign Xmas albums and shit. Man, foreign. I only like R&B. To be honest with Christmas music, I only like black Christmas music. Once black people start doing Christmas songs and shit, it replaced all that other shit. I don't listen to no Christmas caroler shit. Black people start getting funky on Christmas music, that's all I be wanting to hear. I don't want to hear no Frank Sinatra shit, no Nat King Cole shit. If it ain't got no, like how Deuce Time said, if it ain't got a bop and they hitting it on a one, I don't want to hear that shit. And then CJ said, this nigga be killing me with the impersonation voices. Y'all acting a fool. Marcelo said, Reggie loves getting triggered, says, by this stuff, man. I ain't getting triggered. I'm learning. He says, I didn't see that comment and they're laughing at, yeah, Godbody Sean got at your whole ass. All right, back to the history. All right, so let me see. Where we at? Oh, yeah, this is it. Wait, am I reading the right shit? You know, the whole time, have I been, the whole time, y'all ain't even seeing this shit I'm reading. Hold on. I got that other shit on the screen. Hold on, let me put that shit up. I did not realize I got the wrong screen up on here that I'm reading. I'm probably looking like, what the fuck is this fool reading? All right, here it is. So I'm back into it. So y'all was hearing what I was reading. So in 1822 says, what is that? Clement Clark Moore wrote the poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, says, popularly known by its first line, "'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was staring, not even a mouse." I think that's the way it goes. That's a good poem. That's a real good poem. He probably made a lot of money if you can sell that. I don't know who would buy that shit, but imagine you selling that shit. And he wrote that in 1822. That show was almost 200 years old. And he said that's the like some of the dopest lyrics ever. If you imagine they was rapping back then, that'd be some highlight shit with a beat over it. So the poem helped popularize the tradition of exchanging gifts, and seasonal Christmas shopping began to assume economic importance. Oh, this fool with that shit. Maybe they brought cards. So maybe is where that started with the economics. You start buying postage cards or holiday cards. And people got so much joy of getting a card. And even the cards are still around. People read this card and like, oh my God. Because imagine, you getting enjoyment out of seeing this shit. Ain't no TV around, ain't no radio around. You getting off of this card and they having such sentimental value. You hung it up and you valued that shit. Like, oh my God, the thought is what counts. Oh my God, I love this card. And then says, and then you go show that card off and realize your neighbor got the same one. Your neighbor got the same shit. Says, imagine you a single fool, you pimping back in 1822, you buying all your hoes this card, and they falling in love over that shit. Said this also started the cultural conflict between the holiday's spiritual significance and its associated commercialism. Says that some see as corrupting. I knew I was seeing, so I see the same shit y'all talking about. I be on point with shit. Salute to my brother Kenny Porter, right hand in the building. Says I was just listening to last night's show. Says a classic as usual. Yeah, man, that shit was funny as fuck, bro. That's why I like making the panels at times on these shows, man. It's always gonna be some ignorant shit on that shit. It is funny, man. Y'all get a thrill off that ignorant shit more than learning this shit. People love seeing people act the ass on shit. But even the like the substance of what we was covering was better though. That shit was better until we bring Ben Israel ignorant ass on, and that shit always turned into some left ass shit. And then Asian math out and then Asian math picking up on white strawberry off the fucking gas station and shit. No, salute to Asian math. He did show me some little young tender he had. He had some little young freak and shit. But he might come up on Epstein's file. I don't know how old she was. She had a cold little body on her. But I don't want to look at I don't know the age on that motherfucker. No, I'm fuck with you, Asian man. And so let me go back into it. So where we at? So let me go back in that part. So this also, let me highlight just this part. So, oh, God damn it. Hold on. So this is the part right here. So this also started the cultural conflict between the holiday's spiritual significance and this associated commercialism that some see as corrupting the holiday. In her 1850 book, The First Christmas in New England, which would be, oh no, I'm about to say not New England. New Amsterdam was New York City, but actual New England. Harriet Beecher Stowe includes a character who complains that the true meaning of Christmas was lost in a shopping spree. And is that supposed to be the Grinch or some shit? So who is the true hero in Christmas when they introduced the Grinch? So is the Grinch a villain for Christmas, or the Grinch is somebody there to restore the true essence of Christmas? Is the Grinch to steal away this commercialization of holiday? How about they make a movie to where the Grinch is actually the fucking hero in this shit? Or he restores the balance of shit. Maybe the Grinch learns and maybe the people learn. All right, continue. Says, while the celebration of Christmas was not yet customary in some regions of the U.S., says Henry Wadsworth, which is that store guy, right? Wasn't Wadsworth a big-ass store? Says Henry Wadsworth Longfellow says detected says a transition state about Christmas here in New England in 1856. The old says the old Puritan feeling prevented from being a cheerful, hearty holiday, though every year makes it more so. Says in Reading, Pennsylvania, says a newspaper remarked in 1861, even our Presbyterian friends who have what is that, heat hurt? Hold on, I got to put this word into a glossary. I got to get a what is that, heater hurt? They play that goddamn Read the Rainbow shit, because I sure in the hell got to get this word pulled up, and then I want to get a meaning on that. Is a heat? Heather too. God damn. Let me go into Reading Rainbow shit because I sure in the hell can't pronounce that.
And it's so funny. Man, you reading like you slow, cuz.
I can go twice as high.
Nah, it just show up different.
Take a look.
Y'all never went live before. It look
A
different.
reading rainbow.
What's going down?
Anywhere. Friends to know.
It's a lot of comments on here.
A reading rainbow.
Cuz can't read. Who can't read? Derek Harris. Who is that?
Take a look. It's in a book. A reading
Screenshot. SS. That shit for me, please. What do SS mean? Can somebody help me with that? I don't know what SS mean. Get off here. Get off here. I know I'm here. I'm here.
All right, we back. So the word was hitherto, and that means until now. So it's defined as until now. So it's until the point in time under discussion. So let's go back into that shit. So even our Presbyterian friends who have hitherto steadfastly ignored Christmas, threw open their church doors and assembled in force to celebrate the anniversary of the Savior's birth. The First Congressional Church of Rockford, Illinois, says although of genuine partisan stock, was preparing for a grand Christmas jubilee. Says, is this a black church? First Congressional Church. That sounds like it's probably a black church. Says the news and thing about Jubilee, because I think Jubilee was something big amongst black Christians. Maybe whites did it too. I don't know. Says a news correspondent says reported in 1864. By 1860, says 14 states, including several from New England, had adopted Christmas as a legal holiday. In 1875, Louis Prang says introduced the Christmas card to Americans. Says he has been called the father of the American Christmas card. And his name is Louis Prang. Says on June 28, 1870, says Christmas was formally declared a U.S. federal holiday. So in 1870. So who would be the president then? So the 20th to 21st century. So during the First World War, let's check this out. Oh, look at the picture of the broad. Them broad. Y'all mothers were ugly as fuck, Mark Summers. The chicks from y'all style is garbage. Look at this picture of how whack she look. Her style is goof. Her whole look is goof. And even when you look at the queen, she garbage when you're looking at that picture back then. And these fools talking about they beauty standards. Y'all got beauty standards from the queen back in Queen of England. That bitch was raggedy, homie, trash. So during the First World War, and particularly in 1914, a series of informal truces took place for Christmas between opposing enemies. So they'll say, stop your bombs. Please stop the bombs. We are going to have Christmas. You give me your gun and I'll give you mine. That was exchanging gifts over there. You give me your tank, I'll give you mine. And so that's how the Germans end up losing that shit because of Christmas. They got tricked. Says the truce says, which were organized spontaneously by fighting men, says range from promises not to shoot, says shout at a distance in order to ease the pressure. Then why the fuck keep fighting? That just goes to show how stupid motherfuckers is. And these some dumbass motherfuckers. That's why they send poor people to war, man. These some of the dumbest motherfuckers on this planet. That you would freeze the damn war just to celebrate a funky ass holiday. Then what the fuck are you fighting for? Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Says which were organized, it's spontaneous, says to friendly socializing, says gift giving, says and even sports between enemies. And then the next day, the damn sun goes down, the moon falls, and then the sun come back up. Now they back to killing each other. Y'all some stupid ass people, man. Fighting for these rich ass scumbags and shit. Fuck Trump. All right, continue on. It says these incidences became a well-known and semi-mythologicalized part of popular memory. says they have been described as a symbol of common humanity. Man, get the fuck out of with the common humanity. These fools is idiots. Says even in the darkest of situations, says and used to demonstrate to children the idea of Christmas. But these same people want to push these ideals, same people that push war. Fucking idiots. Let me see. The United States. What is that? Atheism says the Soviet Union after its federation in 1917, Christian celebration along with other Christian holidays were prohibited in public. So Soviet Union said that thought that shit. So let me go. I'm going to the economy shit. Let me see. Let me go into the money side of it. Let's go into the economics. So Christmas is typically a peak. See, there we go. This is what they want. The 21st century must have turned that shit into this shit. Especially the internet age has really turned it. Well, now that Black Friday shit been around, but the digital age has really hyper sensationalized this shit. Get your ass out there and buy this. So even with the adults, they push the new car, buy the new model, this and that. All right, so Christmas is typically a peak selling season for retailers in many nations around the world, being this towards the close of the year. So sales increase dramatically, says during this time as people purchase gift declarations and supplies to celebrate. In the United States, the Christmas shopping season starts as early as October. In Canada, merchants begin advertising campaigns before Halloween, says and step up their marketing following Remembrance Day on November 11th. In the UK and Ireland, says the Christmas shopping season starts from mid-November around the time when high street Christmas lights are turned on. A concept devised by retail entrepreneur David Lewis. The first Christmas grotto opened in Lewis's department store in Liverpool, England, in 1879. In the United States, it has been calculated that it has been calculated that a quarter of all personal spending takes place during the Christmas holiday shopping season. Figures from the U.S. Let me go up. Figures from the U.S. Census Bureau revealed that expenditure in department stores nationwide rose from $20.8 billion in 2004 to $31.9 billion in December of 2004. Damn, what's that? $11 billion just in that one, says an increase of 54%. Says from 20 billion to 31. Yeah. So says in other sectors, says the pre-Christmas increase in spending was even greater. Says there being a November to December buying surge of 100% in bookstores and 170% in jewelry stores. Says in the same year, employment in American retail store, because they do that seasonal hiring shit, and then they fire your ass because all these idiots about to buy all this shit in Christmas time. Says in the same year, employment in American retail stores rose from 1.6 to 1.8. And see, this is how bad the economy is, because it was one of the brothers who seems to not know shit ever when we speak politically or economically. It's my brother Pittsburgh T. Try to bring up about some job reports. And the job report looks sickening. It's trash. Trump in there trying to sway shit, firing people who give out real numbers, and employing people who bow down to them because they need a job, because otherwise they end up homeless. They put out a report that ain't even showing great numbers. The fact that you have the seasonal hiring, the uptick in hiring in December, and mainly October, December, and then firing their asses in January, being the jobs report is still trash, that these companies going about this hiring. And some companies are even doing massive layoffs even in December. All right, so you get the buying surge, blah, blah, blah. Where do I go with the employment? Where's that part? Okay, says in the same year, says employment in American retail stores rose from 1.6 to 1.8. Says in the 2 months leading up to Christmas, industries completely dependent on Christmas includes Christmas cards, of which 1.9 billion are sent in the United States each year, or it should have been spent. Says in live Christmas trees, says of which 20.8 million were cut in the U.S. in 2002. Says in the UK in 2010, up to 300. That's not 300. Up to 8 billion euros was expected to be spent online at Christmas, approximately a quarter of the total retail festive sales. In most Western nations, Christmas Day is the least active day of the year for business and commerce. Almost all retail, commercial, and institutional businesses are closed. Almost all industries cease activity, says more than any other day of the year. Says weather laws require such are not. In England and Wales, the Christmas Day Trading Act of 2004 prevents all large shops from trading on Christmas Day. Similar legislation was approved in Scotland in 2007. It says film studios release many high budget movies during the holiday season, including Christmas films, fantasy movies, or high tone dramas with high production values. Says are meant to be in hopes of maximizing the chance of nominations for the Academy Awards. One economist analysis calculates that despite increased overall spending, Christmas is a dead weight loss under the orthodox microeconomic theory. It says because of the effects of gift giving. Says this loss is calculated as the difference between what the gift giver spends on the item and what the gift receiver would have paid for the item. Says it is estimated that in 2001, Christmas resulted in a 4 billion dead weight loss in the U.S. alone. So because of complicating factors, this analysis is something used to discuss possible flaws in the current microeconomic theories. Says the other dead weight losses includes the effects of Christmas on the environment and the fact that material gifts are often perceived as white elephant and posing costs for upkeep and storage and contributing to clutter. Yeah, I don't like that white elephant shit neither. Let me see. All right, so that's all I want to read on that one. So there's a little bit of history. Oh, wait. The Santa Claus shit, do I need to go into that? I really don't. Really don't need to go into that shit. We get that. That shit comes out of blah, blah, St. Nicholas, all that other shit. Let me go back in the chat and I'll get up out of here. And let me see. Where was we at? Let me see. Oh yeah, Kenny Porter's right here and was laughing at the show from yesterday. It's Rob G in there laughing at Kenny Porter says where the hoes Asian math? Man, it's the Asian math crazy, man. That nigga crazy, but he doing this thing as an old cat. Says the Grinch is the hero at the end. So that's why I never watched the movies. I never really watched Christmas movie except the what's the one with Ralphie? I watched that one. What's that one? That shit been coming on for like the last 40 goddamn years. This shit called The Christmas Story, I think. With little Ralphie and that motherfucker. He wanted the BB gun, then he shot himself. What's that one? Them fools making shitload of money off of that shit. That shit thing called The Christmas Story. Yep, A Christmas Story. That shit came out in '83. So that shit is. I'm a little bit older than that. So that movie is over 40 years old. Let me go on The Christmas Story. Let me see. They got a wiki on that shit. They had probably grossed a ton of money over it. How did that shit even become popularized like that? Very good movie. I've always loved that movie. And then he says he ruins everyone Christmas, says, but then he comes back and saves it, says, and he's a hero. And then King Porter's right hand says, CJ says, you fucking with those GT futures. And then Mark Summers says, stop hating. And then let me go into this Christmas story real quick. I'm gonna get out of here. I wonder how much money has that shit grossed. It probably grossed $1 billion off of that shit. And it probably wasn't even a big hit in the damn box office like that. Let me see. It's 94 minutes. The budget was 3.3 million. Box office. Oh, so no, it was a commercial hit. It's definitely a commercial hit. So it almost made, what would that be? Boom, boom, boom. What about 6 times? About 6 times its budget. So it turned 6 times over in profits back in '83. So I guess that's a hit. Let me see. What's the success on that? That should definitely make a success on what do they call that shit? The home box and shit. Says the Christmas Story says is a 1983 Christmas comedy directed by Bob Clark. Says based off a 1966 book. So he made a hit off of this one. He made a hit. Oh, he did the Porky's too. The Porky's was a hit too. Says the book says in God We Trust, says and all others pay cash, says by Gene Shepard. Says with some elements from his 1971 book, says Wanda Hickey's Night on the Golden Memories and Other Disasters, says the star Melody Dillon, who was at the mother, Darren McGavin, the father, and Peter, Billingsley. Oh, that food looked just like the damn kid. So that's who the kid is. Billingsley says and follows a young boy and his family's misadventures during Christmas time in December 1940. They did a great thing on setting the time, the setting having like that time period from the 40s. Said it is the third installment in the Parker's family saga. So the Christmas Story was released by MGM UA Entertainment, says on November 18, 1983, and received positive reviews from critics. Says the film grossed $19 million on a $3 million budget. That's a good budget. Says film partly in Canada. Says the film earned 2 Canadian Genie Awards in 1984. Widely considered a holiday classic in the United States and Canada. It has been shown in a marathon. It says in a marathon annually on TNT since 1997, says, and on TBS since 2004, titled 24 Hours of Christmas Story, consisting of 12 consecutive airings, says of the film from the evening of Christmas Eve to the evening of Christmas Day. So 2012 says it was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. Damn, man, that's hellified shit. You make a movie and that shit becomes that, man, you can go off and die. No, I'm just playing shit, but you didn't completed that shit. Your shit went into the Congress National Registry and shit. Damn, homie, he knocked it out the park with this movie. He knocked that shit out the park with that shit. Like I said, I like that film too. I like that shit. Let me go into what's some other shit on it. Don't need to go into the history, all that. Let's go into the box office, critical response. Let me see. Let's check the box office's release. Then was people rushing to see it like that? Says initially overlooked as a sleeper film. I can see it being a sleeper too. So the Christmas Story was released a week before Thanksgiving in 1983, and that's what that timing is. Everything to drop a movie, even to drop music. Says it dropped a week before Thanksgiving in 1983. Says to moderate success, earning about $2 million in its first weekend. By Christmas 83, says the film was no longer playing at most venues, says, but remained in about 100 theaters until January 1984. Also, that maybe that ain't a big hit. So gross earnings were just over 19.2 million, says. In December of 1984, says the film was re-released for a brief second, theoretical run, says, how you say that, theoretical run, says, coinciding with its home video release. Writer Gene Lovin says of Knight Rider noted that after the first year had passed, the film had caught on with critics and the public. Says, and rather than unload the film to cable television, MGM saw enough interest budding for a second run during the holiday season, this time much closer to and through the week of Christmas. And see, that's when you know you got somebody just don't hit off. That's kind of how Friday was. Friday, I don't think hit that much in the box office, but that shit definitely became a classic, cult classic. And in critical responses, film critics generally supported the film. Leonard, Martin says proclaimed it a top screen comedy. Gene Siskel, remember Siskel and Ebert, says gave it a 3.5 star. Oh, they the ones that killed that shit off. Calling it a delightful motion picture, says with delightful characters and performance. Says, but opined that it was doomed in the box office, says was doomed to box office failures, says for being released too early in the holiday season. Robert Ebert, so who's part of the Siskel and Ebert crew, says initially gave the film 3 stars out of 4. Oh, it's out of 4. I thought it was out of 5, so that's not bad. says, but later awarded the film 4 stars and added the film to his great movies list. Yeah, that film's a hit, man. Says he suggested that the film only experienced modest success because holiday themed films were not popular at the time. Says Vincent Canby's mostly negative New York Times review says complained that the movie's big comic pieces tend only to be exceedingly busy. Says though, and these white dudes, these white critics have no understanding of comedy and none of that shit. They cornball ass people. Though Mr. Billingsley, Mr. Gavin says Miss Dilling and the actress who plays Ralphie's school teacher, Teddy Moore says are all very able. They are less funny than actors in the television situation comedy. All right, that's the comics, blah, blah, blah. But that's all I got on that one. Let me see. I'm going to get ready to end this one. I just wanted to get on this piece on this Christmas shit. And then looking back on the fact I had this little drawn out little thing with my daughter about Santa being fake, because I never pushed that Santa shit with them. And they believe that shit like a mug. Let me see where we at. And then Matt F says you shot your eye out. Yeah, Ralph with the BB gun. Cause remember kids back then, them older kids, that's why later as time moved on, it's probably the worst thing. Old people used to want to get their kids BB guns, teach them to shoot gun, and then Reagan them to bring crack and guns in this mug. And you wonder why all these fools are shooting every goddamn thing. They want to be John Wayne and the Long Ranger and then got guns and got a license and doing drive-bys and shit. Mark Summers says Home Alone wasn't big in the box office. It wasn't? Hold on, let me check the facts on that one, because Mark Summers don't be knowing what the fuck he be talking about. I can't see Home Alone. They done did 3 Home Alones. How Home Alone wasn't a box office hit? Home Alone. This is why they don't be knowing what the hell be talking about. I'll be having to check this shit. Let me see. Mark Summers just be blurting out false ass shit. Let's see. Talking about Home Alone wasn't a box office hit. I don't see if it box office. How many Home Alones? They keep making Home Alone. Let me see. Let's check that out. We're gonna fact check you on that one. So always over here, you go to other channels, they ain't gonna fact check. They just believe that shit. They just believe you. They've been raised that way to believe when people like you say shit. And then CJ says the GT futures are hard. Says I need those. Says I need those Wally joints. And a Wale joint says, yeah, I might get a pair. And he says, yeah, it says that reflective upper. Says the cold touch. And then he says 3.5 out of 4. Talking about what Cisco Ebert gave that movie. Let's go into Home Alone real quick. Holiday movie. This fool said Home Alone wasn't a box office hit. We're going to look at revenue and budget. So budget. Told you this white dude don't be know what the fuck he talking about. I told you, this fool don't be knowing what the fuck he be talking about. Why you don't listen to these fools? Fucking budget, huge to the month for $18 billion budget. And that's why now this fool gonna write, I'm at Home Alone 3. Fucking didn't mean none of that shit. Told you don't be know what the fuck you talking about. Telling you, dude. This fool don't listen to nothing that comes out this buffoon's mouth or any of these Trump-looking ass fools' fucking mouths. They put a budget of $18 million on this shit. This shit flipped a quadrillion times. $18 million. But that's why Macaulay Culkin became a hit. That shit earned $476 million in 1990. Damn. Telling you this fool don't be know what he's talking about. They probably got 30 Home Alones to this date. Let's see what the sequel did. The sequel did the good ass numbers. They almost doubled the budget, and they pulled in $359 million, which is good as hell for a sequel. This fool don't be knowing what he's talking about. How much is the Home Alone franchise done though? They have almost pulled $1 billion off this shit. Macaulay Culkin is a hit, homeboy. Home Alone franchise. That's what I'm looking for. How many of these films they got? They got, damn, it's, how many? 4. That should be 5. Wait, so you got, this is 1, 2, and 92. Then they took this long hiatus. Macaulay Hawkins went on to do other movies. Then you got Home Alone 3, directed by this fool. Then you got Home Alone 4. This would be Home Alone 5. This one to make Home Alone 6. And how much? So they never got success from Macaulay Hawkins. That fool was a major, major hit for them fools. How much money they done pulled in on this shit. So it don't show how much the franchise made. At least, oh wait, is these the numbers? Wait, is this the numbers? So that's 4 worldwide. Okay, here go the total. Almost $1 billion off of this shit. Even the other ones that are kind of little lamer ones, they pulled in. Wait, this is just off the first 3. Almost $1 billion on that shit. And out of all, look, they budget has only been $70 million to make these 3 films that made this movie studio $914 million. Damn. They didn't even put the numbers for the other ones. That shit wasn't even worth putting up there. They probably lost money on the other ones with them lesser known kids and that shit. Like, so never listen to when Mark Summers put information in here. He don't be knowing what he's talking about. He says, why you even have to look that up? Just to show that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about and to prove to other people why when people throw out information, you don't go about regurgitating the shit they put out unless you look it up. Even when I do it. That's why when I speak shit, I make sure I type it. I don't just type in when y'all put out shit. I type up shit when I make a statement. And he says, obviously, he says it was a hit. That shit was a major hit, homeboy. And he says you got Rick Road. And then wait, what was another movie? It was one of them Animal Houses or something. It was some shit in that. Wait, look, I can continue going on with shit. I think it was Animal House. One of the actors that fucked himself over from making the maximizing the kind of money he could have made over that shit because he thought the movie was just a stupid movie. I think it's Animal House or it might be the Porkies. It's one of these, and that fool ended up getting something like it is Animal House. Animal House, look at the success on this shit. This from 78. It's one of the dudes, I think. Let me see. I know the dude face when I see it. Let me see if he's on here. And he was mad. He walked out with just the upfront fee versus taking a percentage or whatever. $3 million budget. This motherfucker earned $141 million. 1978. That is crazy. Look, in today's money, that will be 679 million buckaroonies. His budget would be only 14 million buckaroonies. I want to see the story. It's one of them actors that fucked himself over from getting paid. Who's that one fool blew up? Oh, John Belushi is the dude that blew up off of that shit. Wait, where's the one fool who I recognize his face, I think. I think it was this dude. It might have been John Keith Vernon who thought the movie wasn't going to do shit. I think he had been in other films. He one of them older damn fools. And score. Maybe it's this fool. But let me see. That shit is crazy how this movie made that bread. But let me see if it's something about the pay in this shit. Production, screenplay, boom, boom. Reception, spin-off. It might be if they talk about it. We'll be casting. Let me go to, because one of them dudes is critical. One of the dudes who played in it, the actors, and he ended up fucking himself out of some money. Let me see if I can type an article. So when it released, doing production versus studios, spent 4.5. That is a crazy return on that shit. That's probably why they start running these National Lampoon crazy fraternity movies. Remember the Nerds and all that shit? That is crazy. John Belushi, bro. Didn't John Belushi like die over some overdose shit? Let me see what happened to John Belushi. I think that fool did die. Or was it a brother? Because I think he had a relative in that acting shit. And let me see. Where you at, John Belushi? Yeah, he did die. How did that fool die? I think he died on cocaine or some shit. Yep, drugs. That's what it was. See, a boy be on point. Let me see. Actor in Animal House who Animal House actor who lost money. Let me see if that shows. Yep, it was David Sutherland. There we go. Says that I lost money to do this role in Animal House. He played professor. But opted. There it go. Yep, it's David Sutherland. See, when I knew by the face. I knew it by the face when I see it. Who would it be? That fool, oh, he fucked himself out of money on this one. Because of he being too old and his judgment on shit, not paying attention. So Donald Sutherland says, as the actor says, he lost money due to his role in the Adam House. Says he played a professor, David Jennings, in the 1978 film, says, but opted for a lower upfront payment instead of back end points. Says which would have earned him a significant share of the film's profits. Ultimately, Animal House grossed over 130 million, says, leading to a missed opportunity for Sutherland to earn an estimated 20 million from the film. You talking about wanting to kick yourself in the ass? Donald Sutherland is that guy. Because he didn't think nothing of the damn the movie. Says Animal House is a classic. Says, yeah, says John died of overdose. Says Jim Belushi is his brother. But yeah, Donald Sutherland is the actor that fucked himself off this money for this damn film because he thought less of the movie. He didn't think nothing of the movie. Probably said, oh, this is not what is that? What they call it? This is not being a thespian. What kind of ridiculous crap is this? These young fools have really ruined what Hollywood should be. Wait, this ain't Donald Sutherland. Hold on, let me go back. Let me go into Donald Sutherland. Yeah, this is the fool here. This is the one who missed out on the money. Damn, I know he feel bad. And they probably didn't even say, nah, we gonna correct this shit for you, Donald. So Donald Sutherland says could never have known 1978's Animal House says will be a huge hit. The actor who died, he died? Man, when did he die? He was 88 years old. He lived quite a bit. 2024. I was tripping off of seeing, what's it do? Dick Van Dyke is 100 years old still. He's still living. Says he died on Thursday, June 20th. Said that he lost out on millions for accepting the offer to star in the John Landis directed National Lampoon's frat comedy. Says given the choice, says to earn a fee of either 2% of the film's gross profits or his typical pay rate of $25,000. He took the latter. So he took 25 fucking thousand up front versus the back end. This is why I be listening to these fools talk boxing, talk, and be up here complaining about the back end and talking about how people don't get shit, man. You wait on the back end to see what type of success this event could be. Donald Sutherland is the example of this shit, where you never know what some shit is going to become. When you think you got a hit, it ain't shit. And when you think something that is an actual hit and you look down on is a shit that brings you the cha-ching. This fool took 25,000. How mad would you fucking be? Damn. Says I told distributor Universal Pictures, says no, says you need to pay me my daily rate. Says he recalled to Variety in 2004. It says, but Animal House, which starred John Belushi, Tim Matheson, John Vernon, Verna Bloom, says, and Karen Allen, and more, says went on to become a box office smash, earning 120 million worldwide. Has Sutherland taking the small percentage of the movie's gross, says by his own calculation, he could have ended up with 14 million, which is actually 20 million. Man, we need to start GoFundMe for David Sutherland. Hold on, let me put this article on the screen for those who may want to freeze and read and archive that shit. So this is the article. So this is David Sutherland. Says lost out on millions for not accepting Animal House back end offer. Didn't accept it in 1978. He probably would have died earlier if he would have took that money back then. Because you know them fools in that cocaine in Hollywood, and he's sitting on 20 million and 78. Or could have went on to buy, own a lot of shit, paid off. Man, 25,000 is a lot of damn money too. 25,000 is a lot of damn money. For 1978, 25,000 is good even today. You may blow through it fast, but it's good money if you have great management skills. 25,000 is good money today. Go back to 1978, 25,000, but 20 million? Oh my God. Talking about decisions. He probably thought that movie was gonna flop. Dang, when I heard that story, I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, damn, that's cold-blooded shit. But you never know. But that's all I got on this one, folks. I'm out of this joint. Peace out. Merry Christmas, everybody. Just want to talk some Christmas history, laugh a little bit like always, and be thought-provoking. That's the other thing. But I'm out. Peace.
No, he is not, girl. What makes Santa real? Why is
But
he
I
real?
saw the Santa present, so I know he's real.
You sing Santa presents.
So he's real.
He's real, but you didn't get to see him.
No, because you remember on the TV, stories come from on the TV, and then Santa sneaks right in the house. That's what Santa does.
Oh, so is that why you didn't get to see Santa?
No, because maybe all the presents are gonna disappear.
So he's real, but you didn't see him?
No, because the presents might disappear.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't want them to disappear.
Oh, so that's why you didn't wake up. Because if you'd have woke up, they would have disappeared? Is that what you're saying? Oh. Or did your mom and dad and Gigi buy them presents?
Santa did.
Oh, we didn't do nothing?
No.
Oh.
Santa's just trying to be nice because he likes